Hello class, welcome again. Today we're going to have another discussion on very important ideas about main sentence faults. So in today's class we're going to learn a little about sentence fragments again, run-on sentences, and comma splices. Just to recap, in a previous video we have studied the important information about sentence fragments, what they are, and what kind of sentence fragments we will study along the course. So we identified 6 kinds of fragments. Remember them? And today's class will focus a lot on run-on sentences and comma splices, another very common mistake in composition. So let's go over the first one. Before we actually start, we need to understand that having a mistake is normal. However, we need to avoid these mistakes. Run-on sentences, comma splices, and fragments are the most common mistakes we find in students' papers. So what is it important to be understood about it? Well, that you need to get your punctuation right. How do you understand that? Well, in order for you to know how to write sentences correctly, remember that one of the requirements for a sentence to be a sentence is that it must be correctly punctuated. So you see 3 important subjects here: a comma, a semicolon, and a period. What each of them represents and what pause they make, well, we're going to see this along this video. So thank you once again for joining the videos. I hope you like the explanation and you comment it later. What does a comma signal? Well, a comma signals a pause. It tells the reader to slow down briefly, but then keep going until the thought is completed. Because I like grammar, I like this class. The comma represents a very slow pause, so you let your reader catch a little breath by providing a short pause. But it doesn't mean that a comma will separate ideas. Second one. What do periods and semicolons signal? Semicolons and periods signal a full stop, which means an idea is complete. And you have an example here. I love grammar. I love this class. You have 2 independent clauses, you have 2 different ideas. I love grammar. I love this class. And in the second example, you have I love grammar, semicolon, I love this class. Here, you have 2 ideas that are connected, but still can be separated using the correct punctuation mark, which is either a period or a semicolon. So, as you have seen here, we have 2 correct sentences. Though they are short, they are divided in a very correct way. So, when we don't punctuate sentences correctly, we run into a problem called run-on sentence. But what is a run-on sentence? A run-on is a sentence error caused by running one sentence into another without putting any punctuation mark in between. How does it work? We all like grammar. We all love this class. Do you see the problem here? We all like grammar. We have a subject, we have a predicate. But we have another idea here. We have another subject and we have another predicate. And we have run-on 2 sentences here because we have one idea and then another idea, one after the other. That one is called a run-on sentence. And as you see the picture here, one idea runs to the other one. So you don't let the reader see where one ends and the other one begins. What is a comma splice? Well, in a comma splice, we have a very similar mistake. You have 2 sentences or 2 independent clauses, but what happened there? Well, this mistake is caused by putting just a poor, weak comma between 2 complete sentences. You see what I mean? Imagine this one is an independent clause, and this one is another independent clause. So what joins the 2 independent clauses is just a comma. Can we actually separate 2 ideas with only a comma? Take a look at the example. We all like grammar. We all love this class. It's a typical mistake we students make, huh? So this little drawing represents the weak grammar punctuation mark we have used, which is a comma. And a comma cannot stand just 2 independent clauses together. What happens then? How can we correct comma splices and run-on sentences? There are several ways in which we can correct them, and I'm going to present you some of them today. You see, the first one is, we all like grammar, period. We all love this class. Separate them with a period, creating two complete sentences. So you will isolate them by writing a period. That is the safest way to fix it. Now you try it. Use a period to correct these run-ons and comma splices. These punctuation rules aren't hard. I know how to run, how to avoid run-ons. Where is the problem? The problem is right here. These punctuation rules aren't hard. And then we have another idea. I know how to avoid run-ons. Here, in order to fix the problem, we have used these punctuation rules aren't hard. Period. I know how to avoid run-ons. A period has separated the two ideas and has fixed the mistake, which was a run-on sentence, having no periods or any punctuation between two ideas. And then we have another example. My new supervisor has been making all sorts of changes. She is really causing problems. You see, a comma is divided into independent clauses. That's called a comma splice. And then, how do we fix a comma splice? We provide a period that will separate the first idea and the second one. So as you see, the last two examples were the correct ones. How can I fix a comma splice in a run-on sentence? The second way is to link them with a semicolon. This creates two complete sentences just as a period does, but the second sentence doesn't start with a capital letter. In other words, we will separate ideas using a semicolon, but we know that after semicolons we don't use capital letters, okay? No caps needed there. The third method could be to end the first sentence with a semicolon and begin the second one with a conjunctive adverb or a transitional word. We like grammar. Semicolon. Therefore, comma, we love this class. So here we have used a semicolon, a conjunctive adverb, or a transitional phrase, and then we have used a comma. Now you try it. Use a semicolon and a transitional word like therefore or however to correct this comma splice. I'm not going to give up. However, I sometimes get discouraged. Is it right? Let's check the other one. I'm not going to give up. Semicolon. However, comma, I do sometimes get discouraged. This one is correct. If we just place a comma here, we have a comma splice because we haven't punctuated correctly the two sentences that are joined together. How can I correct comma splices and run-ons? Well, there's a fourth way to do it. You can join the two sentences with a comma and one of the fanboys. The fanboys for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so, or in other words, the coordinating conjunctions. We all like grammar, comma, and we all love this class. Comma before any coordinating conjunction. Great, huh? Now you try it. Use one of the fanboys to correct this run-on sentence. I want a raise. I want more vacation days. This one is a run-on sentence. You have no period that will separate one idea from the other. So how do we fix this? I want a raise, comma, and I want more vacation days. I want two things that have a positive impact in my life. Vacation days and a raise. There's another way, the last one, to correct comma splices and run-on sentences. And this one is join the two separate sentences into one with a subordinating conjunction or a relative pronoun. We all like grammar. We all love this class. It's incorrect. There is a comma splice here. We can fix it by saying, because we all like grammar, comma, we all love this class. We start with the dependent clause, comma, independent clause. All students who like grammar love this class. You can fix it also by using a relative pronoun. It means making a clause be in the middle of a sentence. Comma splice is fixed in two ways, and they are okay. So far we have studied more than 4 ways to fix run-ons and comma splices. Interesting, right? Main cause of sentence errors. Well, there are several cases in which we will make these mistakes. Why do we make them? Sometimes because we confuse the different kinds of joining words. We divide ideas using commas and we think that that's the correct pause, and that is not right. And not knowing when an idea stops and when a new one begins can also cause one of these problems. So how can we fix it? We have already met Mr. Period and Mr. Semicolon that can help you a lot. Using coordinating conjunctions and subordinating conjunctions too. And using transitions. Let's read a few, just to make sure you can catch any punctuation errors. Let's see if you catch them. Which one is correct? I understand run-ons. However, I'm still having trouble with comma splices. Is it right? Second one. I understand run-ons, semicolon. However, I'm still having trouble with comma splices. You were right. The second one was correct. Which one is correct? I'm really good at punctuation, comma, because I have been practicing so much. Second one. I'm really good at punctuation, semicolon, because, comma, I have been practicing so much. Is any of them right? If you thought the first one was correct, you're very wrong. That's why you see the jury here crying a lot. Please do not confuse coordinating conjunctions and subordinating conjunctions. You cannot use comma before because this one is a subordinating conjunction, remember? Which one is correct? I've been given a number of new duties. For example, I have to do all the filing. I've been given a number of duties, semicolon, for example, comma. I now have to do all the filing. You're right, the second one. Why? Because of what we studied in the previous class. We have an independent clause after the transitional word, for example, so we need semicolon, for example, comma. Which one is correct? This one is the same, sorry. I've been given lots of new duties, for example, filing and community outreach. I've been given lots of new duties, for example, filing and community outreach. Here you have an example of using, for example, to list 2 noun phrases, filing and community outreach. So here, this one is incorrect. Why? Because you have a comma just before, for example, but you have no comma here. It is still incorrect. It is a punctuation mistake. And it continues, it is not a comma splice, but it is a punctuation error. Did I catch you on this? Well, remember, you can use a semicolon unless the words on both sides of the semicolon form complete sentences. So the second example is wrong and the first one is wrong too. It will be comma, for example, comma. That will be correct. How about this one? This grammar practice is useful, although I sometimes wish we didn't have to do so much of it. This grammar practice is useful, although I sometimes wish we didn't have to do so much of it. If your answer was the first one, you were totally wrong. This is not a conjunctive adverb. This is a subordinating conjunction, so you don't punctuate it like that. If not, you cause a fragment beginning from although and ending in much of it. You've got it! We reached the end. No more fragments, comma, splices, or run-on sentences ever again, please. You will have to do some homework. Check the Google Classroom course to work on the practice on comma, splices, run-on sentences, and fragments. It was very nice, guys, to have you in my class again. Thank you for watching this video. Bye-bye.